Hey guys, what is up? So I just wanted to stop by real quick before this whole podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Clouser. It's literally, guys, it's literally the same name as the name you subscribe to when you subscribe to this podcast. So enjoy this show, enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side. This was a weird one. I don't know, but I feel like I'm going to use it. It's a one take. Fuck it, we're going live. All right, wash your hands. Don't eat bats, which I don't think that was how Corona was started, was from a bat. I'm starting to think it's really from a lab. Enjoy this clip.
For those of you in the comments calling me a creep, yeah, I'm a creep. I'm a creep in your sister's room and give her this 8-inch Hell in the Cell Undertaker style. And that's on 'cause Stone Cold said so, bitch.
All right. What is going on, guys? How are you doing? So this is a new episode of my podcast called The John Show with your host, John D. Clouser. That is who I am. What is up, guys? Are you guys good? Alive? We are in another week of the Corona. I hope you guys are still washing your hands, wearing your masks, because, we all went backwards about 2 steps. We did a false start. We assumed that everything was good to go, and we're going on 2. Instead, we were actually going on 3, which I don't understand how I chose 2 and 3 instead of just 1 and 2. But anyway, and we jumped. We jumped before the ball was snapped, and before they said that, hey, we don't need to wear our masks anymore. We did that, and now we went back 10 yards, and we're going to start again. This is going to be try number 2. Hopefully we do better this time. So I'm actually in one of the states. I live in Kansas City, Missouri right now, and we are actually having to. It's a mandatory thing now that if you go outside, you have to wear a mask, and then when you go into any buildings, you need to wear masks. So it's great. It's so much fun. It's so much fun to be in a state that's so damn illiterate when it comes to reading the temperature of the room and realizing, hey, you're better off if you just wear the goddamn mask instead of, saying that it's abusing my rights. It's abusing my rights. It's like, this has nothing to do with your rights, you dumb piece of shit. It has to do with the fact that there's a goddamn virus that none of us can see. And you're out here with your goddamn dick in your hand instead of having your pants up, your shirt buttoned, and a goddamn mask on. Just do it, okay? It's not hard. It really isn't. It's affecting my breathing. So does Corona. Corona fucks up your breathing as well. So, you might want to just hold off, chill out. It's not affecting your right. Affecting your right to what? Trying to help you, man. A lot of people are trying to help you. And it's just do it. It's easy. It's not hard. It really isn't hard. But I hope you guys are doing great. Oh, man, I can only imagine how everything's going to be now after the 4th of July, though. So this is, July 6th. I'm doing this on Monday night. I normally do it on Sunday, but I was like, I said, fuck that shit. I'm going to do it on Monday night instead. It's about 11:40 right now. In the year of 2020 of our Lord, who is now punishing us right now. And it's... I hope you guys, I hope you guys had a good 4th of July. I'm not super into the 4th of July. It's not my thing. Actually, it's one of my least favorite holidays ever. A lot of people, I don't know if you know this, but I came from a third world country that has a lot of war and a lot of war zones. I came from from San Pedro Sula, Honduras, one of the most dangerous cities in the world, if not the most dangerous city in the world. And people are like, oh, John, are you going to celebrate? Are you going to, do you shoot fireworks? No, because I came from a place where, fireworks were gunshots and real stuff and bombs. I'm good. I can't stand the goddamn 4th of July. Driving and you hear this boom out of nowhere. You're walking up the stairs. Boom. Because I think that there's something happened on the fucking 3rd floor, but come to find out, it was just a damn firework that happened outside. It's not fun. It's actually very ignorant. It's like, if you're going to spend your money on something, spend it on cigarettes or booze or something like that. Don't waste your money on these stupid ass things called fireworks and then blow them up and inconvenience me because it is 11:40 on a Monday, and there's still fireworks going off right now. Like, don't you guys have don't you guys have something you could be doing that's productive tomorrow? I love how this has been nothing but me ranting. I don't know. Maybe this is I finally have reached that point. You know what? It's mostly just this damn microphone that's really been irritating the shit out of me because I can't get it tight anymore. And it wants to wiggle a little bit. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's not. I don't like that. I hope you guys are doing great. I'm doing awesome. I'm doing swell. I'm actually, surprisingly, coming out of the gate so fucking hot, I'm actually doing really good. I've eaten well, taken my vitamins. I found this Hawaiian shirt, so I totally thought I lost it. I moved to a new place, and I thought I lost it a while ago. So what I love about the shirt the most is because I found it, and I put it on, and I looked myself in the mirror, and I thought back to a great story that this shirt brought to me. I was once dating this woman who was a therapist, and she was a beautiful woman, awesome woman, but she was very angry, and understandably, she was dating me. Like, it makes sense. And she hated this shirt. She hated how I looked in it. She hated how it looked. She hated everything about this shirt. And I would wear it, and she's like, "You're going to wear that shirt?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I fucking love this shirt, man. This shirt's so cool." She's like, "It looks ugly." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. That's what's so fucking cool about it." And she was like, "No, it's not. You probably shouldn't wear that." I'm like, "Nah, I'm going to wear this shirt." So we'd go out, and every time we'd go out, I'd get at least 2 or 3 compliments on it. Like, "Oh, dude, I love your shirt." Of course, they're like other bro dudes like me. And they're like, "Bro, your shirt fucking killer, man." And I'm like, "No, would you say, huh? Interesting." And I could see the anger on her face. And it brought nothing but joy to me when that happened. And we're no longer together, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure you can see why. And so now, every time I wear this shirt, I'm just like, fuck yeah. I just laugh because I'm like, I can't believe this woman absolutely despised this shirt and despised me. Actually, to tell you the truth, I don't think she really despised the shirt. I think it was more the fact she despised the fact that she was dating me. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all, dude. She was she was a therapist. She was a doctor. She had a doctorate. And she was with some fucking moron of a man who sits in a room, very nicely lit room. Let's all be serious, though. It is very nicely lit, and talks to himself into a microphone and looks into a camera. And like, what do you expect? Like, I like. And the thing was, what's so funny? Like, when we broke up. When her and I broke up, she was like, like, we can still, like, we can stay friends. I'm like, why? Like, why would we want to stay friends? I'm like, honey, when you take sex off the table, like, I'm not really bringing much to the event. Like, I'm not bringing much of anything else. Like, I'm like, let's be real. Like, you're not dating me because of my brain. No, kind of like when no one listens to this because of my brain. Anyway, but yeah, that was a great relationship that I had with that woman. It was a lot of more or less me saying something, accidentally slipping out some information about my childhood, and her just looking at me and being, okay, that makes sense of why you are the way you are. Oh, your mom left you at the foot of a church. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. And your adoptive parents, they screamed at each other. That's okay. That's really awesome. That's cool. Okay, I get why now you're kind of intense. It's so funny because, like, I never realized it. I never had no idea that my parents really yelled at each other. That's how they communicated. It was never just a normal, like, "Hey, can you please go do something?" It was always, "Hey, if you need it, you need to get this shit done now. Please go take the dishes out. Please." It was always like that. And so I never realized it until I was a senior in high school. And I had one of my friends come out, and he came we had a vacation home on the big island of Hawaii, humble brag. And during that trip, he's like, I'll never forget this. We were in the front yard in the morning. It was about 8:30 Hawaiian time, which doesn't really matter. And we were looking out and we're seeing the sunrise and we're just chilling out, having some coffee. And he's like, I don't think your parents totally hate each other when they yell at each other. I just don't think they can hear each other half the time. But it was just how he looked up. He's like, your parents looked up in the air, took a deep breath, and I could see in that second he looked at and saw how great his family is and how lucky he felt at that moment, and then looked at me and was like, they don't totally hate each other. They're just kind of old and deaf, so they can't hear each other. So it was, but ever since then, I'm like, oh yeah. And now watching them communicate is one of the most hilarious things in the world, because it's like, all it is just one giant yell at each other. And I'm like, okay, I see why I'm so intense now. I can see that. That makes total sense. But no, they're good. But they're good people. Like my dad's a hilarious guy. So my dad called me actually the other day, and he was like, they officially just fully moved out, and they live on the Big Island now. They have a condo. They sold the house, live in a condo, and they just sit there. That's all they do. They're like, we sit on the couch, we watch Wheel of Fortune, we listen to some Hawaiian music, we watch a documentary, then we go outside, sit on the porch, and then we watch the sunrise or the sunset. And I'm like, oh, right, that's fun. And then he calls me a couple of days ago. He's like, John. I'm like, yeah. He's like, we just bought a boat. I'm like, okay. He's like, the thing about a boat is, I used to always think you should be the guy who brings the beer for the friend who has the boat. But now I want to have the boat. And I'm like, okay, you can have the boat. And you know what the thing is, Dad? I will bring the beers. And he's like, one of the big things about having a boat, John, is that you have to come up with a name. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's true. He's like, I've been pondering a lot about it, what I want to call my boat. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I want to be stoic, and I want it to really symbolize who I am as a man. I'm like, okay, Dad, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. He's like, so what I thought of was iCup. I'm like, iCup? He's like, yeah, iCup. Now, can you spell it for me? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, ICUP. I'm like, oh, Dad, that's fucking great. That's a great name for a boat. I'm like, I did not see that one coming at all. And I hope you, and I told him, like, I hope you give this long drawn out thing to everybody who tells you or who asks what the name of your boat is, so you can waste time on their life, and then they can also have something to talk about for their podcast as well. He's like, John, what you need to do is you need to invest more in gold. Why, Dad? It's gold. It's always going to be here. It's always going to be here. I'm like, okay, does it mean it's always going to have value? He's like, you're right. And I'm like, then why, Dad? My dad he's the most hilarious guy in the world. And this is another great thing. He, this next story that happened maybe 2 years ago. We were in Hawaii, just hanging out. And he was like, the reason why, and I didn't provoke it. I didn't ask him. There was nothing like that. It was just, he was like, I'm going to tell you the story. He's like, the reason why I joined the Air Force was because I had no choice. What do you mean, Dad, you had no choice? And he's like, when you're young, John, like you once were, you do stupid stuff, and I burned down some barns. And then the judge gave me two options. He's like, you can go to jail or you can go in the Air Force. And so I chose the Air Force. Okay, all right. And he's like, you know what? That judge had he was a smart guy. He was a good guy. He was a good guy. And then I never was able to go back and shake his hand. I'm like, I don't think he really would. I doubt he would remember you, Dad. He's like, no. You don't remember. You'll always remember the thing I did. And he's like, I'm like, what'd you do? Like, you burned down a barn. He's like, no, it wasn't just one barn. It was several barns, and being drunk, and John, Coke is crazy. I'm like, Coke is crazy? What the hell? He's like, John, don't bring it up. We're done talking about this. It's like, no, Dad, you can't just end it like that and expect me not to have any more questions about the whole thing. But that's my dad. That's my dad. That's the man who raised me. He was a good guy, though. Like, we'd always, we'd go snorkeling. We'd go to these I can't believe I'm telling all these stories about my dad. We'd go to these hot springs whenever we'd go to Hawaii, and we'd go snorkeling, because those like really like these, I don't know where, because like how these hot springs were is that they would have like a small little, there's a little mound over it, but the ocean water would still come in, so like fish and everything would still get thrown in here because of the waves. And there would be a lot of people there, and you could snorkel. It's these big ass fucking pools of like natural warmed water. And he was like, John, when you're snorkeling, are you going and looking at girls' heinies? And I'm like, no. He's like, oh, well, you should. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. I was like, it's like 14 when he was saying that to me. It's like, all right. I'm like, thanks, Dad. That's that's cool. I'm glad. I'm so glad you're my father. Like you're what an incredibly interesting man. Him and then my dad's dad is crazy too. So when my dad's dad had cancer and he was passing away, we had to go to Sacramento and visit him at the hospital for it all. And he's like, John, we should probably go to the hospital and see my brother before he passes away. So my parents went, so it was my mother, my father, myself. We went to Sacramento and we were visiting there because that's where my dad's from. Was originally from Sacramento. And we were hanging out. My parents went to go get some food and they're going to bring it back for me. And like, you should stay here and, talk to your uncle, because this might be one of the last times you get to talk to him, really. Because, he's still like pretty coherent. He wasn't like totally out of it. He wasn't like slipping out, but he was just like, he was just sick. He was just getting there, and we just knew he had just a short amount of time left. And everyone left. It was just him and I, and we were sitting there, we're talking, like, hey, like, how you doing? He's like, I'm doing good, John. This cancer sucks, asshole. But, besides that, it's not terrible. Like, life could be worse. I'm like, no, I don't think it really could, but it's a good way of thinking of things. And he's like, John, because, we all have different faiths in life, and we have a lot of different beliefs and everything. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, but if there is really a heaven and there's a God and all that stuff, he's like, and if I pass away, and when I do pass away, he's like, I really hope when I get to heaven that I get to see my dad and my grandpa, but I don't think I'll see two of my cousins. And I'm like, why? He's like, it's because I'm pretty sure they killed someone. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. And he's like, I'm tired now. I'm gonna take a nap. And about 2 hours later, he died. And that was the last conversation I had with my uncle before he passed away. So that was a great thing. And again, hey, you know what, bro? This one's to you for giving me something to talk about on a podcast. So here we are. I have 10 minutes left in this podcast, and I've just talking, telling stories. This is mostly a story podcast because I won't be able to do another. I won't be able to do another podcast this week because Aaron he moved to a new location as well, our new house, and when he was moving, the person that helped him, I guess, just tested positive for corona. So Aaron's like, well, I'm not going to be around for a couple minutes. And I'm like, you better believe you're not going to be around. You're going to sit in that corner over there by yourself, and you're not going to touch anything, talk to anyone, not going to breathe. You're not going to cough anyone. But if you do it into your arm, please. And so I'm going to have more clips. I'm going to have more like things to like be able to throw up on the Insta. Talking about the Insta, you should also follow at John D. Clouser. It's just a humble plug, no big deal. What else do I have to talk about, guys? Ex-girlfriend story, told that. Still hunting. Yes, I archering, still pretty good. This week I felt like I took a slight step back. I wasn't as on it as I was like last week. Mostly because like I was really sore from working out. I've been doing 2-a-days. Also another humble brag, but I've been doing 2-a-days and archery. And it's really fun. Shooting a gun a little bit. Still waiting on making sure that I'm good to go on can buy guns and stuff like that. My background check. It just takes some time on that, so I'm waiting on there. It's not bad. I definitely recommend it. It's fun. It's it's so fucking addicting. Like sitting back and actually when I was talking about last week, I got a compound bow. Recurve. That's why. Or was I talking about? I got a recurve and I got a compound. I got a compound bow, not a recurve. It's the one with the little wheels on it. So I told you guys I'm new at this stuff. So I'm still learning the things and the terminology and all that good things. So I do greatly apologize for telling you the wrong bow and arrow that I got. If anyone really gives two flying F words. But yeah, let me see here. What can I tell? I guess I could probably tell like another story. What story should I tell? Oh my God. I think this might be, I got 7.5 minutes. This might be time for the 81-pound lizard story. So I'm going to tell you guys a really cool, interesting little story, and then we'll kind of fade out. This is another like relationship story. So I was dating. This was back. It is 2020 right now. This was the summer of 2012. So I was dating, and I was living in Los Angeles, California at the time. So I was dating one of Lady Gaga's background dancers in this moment in my life, and it was great. It was awesome. So I met her at the gym. She worked there. She was absolutely the most stunning little black woman I've ever seen in my entire life. And she had several tattoos. She had her whole left arm tattooed. So from her wrist coming up to her elbow was an octopus, and then coming from like her shoulder going down to her elbow was a ship, and it was like they were coming into each other, and it was kind of cool. And then on her forearm, on her right arm, she had a huge hanger that went from her wrist to her forearm. And I asked her on our first date why she had that tattoo, and she's like, "Well, this is supposed to represent all those back alley abortions that women have to do." And I'm like, "All right, well, that's a very interesting way of, reasoning for a tattoo." So, but in my mind, I'm like, "You are so unique. I must date you. I must date you." So we were dating. We're getting pretty serious, and like I started really falling for this woman. I'm like, dude, this is the one. I really did think at one moment in my life, I was like, this is the woman I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with. And she was just awesome. She was perfect. She was just incredibly nice, incredibly supportive of like me wanting to be a filmmaker. She was a dancer. Like we were just two artists, weird random people who found each other in Los Angeles, and we're dating. And then I had never gone over to her place. She'd always talk about how like she had a house, and like she was pretty good. She was good with her money, and she had a nice car. She had a Lexus, but the thing is, like, I never went over to her place. She would always come over to my place, which was fine. And then there was one time we went and had dinner. We had some drinks, and I was like, okay, like this is like really awesome. Like, and there was that moment, and like there was a moment when her and I were just standing there on the Santa Monica Pier, and I was looking at her, and I'm like, this is really love. This is really what it is to like to care about somebody and to want to be with them, and you see them for as more than just, you see them as a person, but you see them as this aura, this beautiful aura. And she was like, hey John, like I really would like you to come back over to my place tonight and spend the night. And I'm like, great, awesome, let's do that. Like, because I had never seen her place before, and we had been dating. At this point we were like 4 months into this relationship, and it was moving pretty fast in that sense of, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, I'm gonna marry, and I'm going to love the fuck out of this woman the rest of my life. So I go over to her place, and she, we were like, we're making out before we were even at the door. Like, as soon as we parked, we're kissing each other. We're walking up to her front steps. We're kissing each other. We go into her house. Like, and it was almost like cliche. You know how, like, in a movie where like, they cut to, like, a door just busting open and two people are, like, kissing on each other and, like, the clothes are coming off. And I'm like, and it was awesome. It was fucking great. I'm like, we're gonna do it. We're gonna have some crazy do it sex. And I was thinking at this time we had always been wearing condoms, and I'm like thinking like maybe this might be the time where we're not gonna wear a condom, and maybe this like we're gonna seal the deal, like we're together. And she's like, she stopped kissing me. She's like, hey John, I want to show you something. And I'm like, okay, awesome, great. She's like, it's in the backyard. And so in her backyard she had a guest house, and so I'm like, okay, great, let's go. So we walk outside, beautiful backyard, and this is up in the Beverly Hills area. Like she came from money already, so I believe that's kind of why she was able to be a dancer, like not a stripper, a background dancer for Lady Gaga. Please, for the love of God, don't think she was a stripper. She wasn't. I did strippers and porn stars later, and I was like 27, 28. Like I was only 25, 24 at this time in my life. And because I had just graduated from college. And so we went in the back, and she was like, I want to show you something. This is like really cool to me. I'm like, okay. So she opens up the door to the guest house, and it is fucking hot in there. It is humid as fuck. And I'm like, why is it so hot in this goddamn house, in this guest house? We keep on walking back, and we're going down this long hallway, and the hallway has like pictures of her with like dogs, pictures with cats, pictures with her with birds, and it was just basically like you could kind of tell it was like kind of a memorial to all the animals she's had. And then we get to the very last door on the left, and she's like, okay, I want to show you something. And what's so interesting about this is like the door opened into the room, not out of the thing. So, and what was weird was that there was the door, but then there was also like one of those like kid gates where like they can't go into one room. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's kind of weird that she has that. She opens up the door, and there's this big room, and it has like plants, like these like plants. There's some like carpet on the ground there's some like sand on one side. And then what you see, and I shit you not, guys, there was an 81-pound fucking lizard in her guest house. Swear to God. Swear to fucking God. And I was like, what the fuck? And so she stepped over it, and this fucking thing was like fully aware of who she was, what she was. This thing got excited like a goddamn dog and went up to her and just like, and kind of nuzzled up to her. And she squatted down, and it just rested its head on her fucking leg. And she just like took her middle finger and just rubbed it in between its eyes. And like the thing would like stick its tongue out and like flick it. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And what was so crazy was I'm like, why do you have this? Like we're brown people. You shouldn't have an 81-pound lizard. And I shit you not, this is what she said. She said, the reason why is because in the state of California, it is illegal to have crocodiles, or I would have that instead. And I looked at her and I was like, well, honey, I'm going to see you later, alligator. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. I never spoke to that girl ever again the rest of my life. Like, I'm like, nope. And I found my line. My line was, I can't date girls that have 81-pound lizards. All right, guys. So this is the podcast. I hope you guys like it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please do that. Go follow me on all my social medias. All right. I talked for a long time. All right, I'm going to go work out. Peace. Bye.